Okay. Well, now 2 questions. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think it is a danger, especially because I notice even the more I'm on social media, the less I want to read my Bible because it's so easy. It's so easy to just keep
Get
scrolling.
Mindlessly scroll,
And then you
right?
have to change it and read the Bible. And when I read the Bible, like when I actually set time to do it, I read for a while. Like I'm get into it. But when I'm in the constant state of just swipe, 30-second swipe, hearing 1,000 different people's voices all within the span of 10 minutes, it feels like I can't even hear from the Lord.
Whoa.
Like there's so many different voices. I can't
Golly.
hear what the Lord is saying.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Never thought of it like that. Wow.
And so that in itself changes just your mind entirely, where you can't even do it. That's why I delete. I tell you this, I delete Instagram every few days. Like I'll
Literally
download
every 3 to 5 days. It's like on
so funny.
rotation.
It
He'd be like,
is.
okay, I got it. Gets it.
Gone.
Literally 2 days
Literally
later.
gone.
Like he'll swipe up on my story like once a month, and then I always know when he's on social media. Like I
is
always
so
know when
funny.
he's on social media.
Landon's back on
It's
again.
so true.
Oh, here he
And
goes.
it's so true. And then that's such a danger because I've seen people have this mindset before even coming to this church, is people view the whole culture and everything as getting easier, weaker. Like everything's easier, everything's weaker. And just because a society gets easier doesn't mean God changes his standard.
That's you're exactly right. That's,
God, you still need repentance and you still need to believe and you still need to walk out in your faith. But I've noticed so many of my friends, like outside of Global Vision, like we got a lot of good people here, praise the Lord.
yeah.
But I've seen so many people that'll just swipe, they'll say they're a believer, and they'll do one devotional every single day. And that's what they say needs to be saved, because that's what the church has told them they need to do to be saved. Because they drop their standards for what they need. But God does not change his standard. It's the reason he's the same God today as he was the day to come and every other day. Because he doesn't change.
Yep.
He's not going to change what requires to be with him, because it's a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the positive side of social media and on the positive side of being an influencer for the gospel and using social media as a way to, and that's a cool thing that your generation has. Whereas my generation, we were, I think Facebook came out when I was in Bible college. Yeah, that's crazy. I was like a junior in Bible college.
Wait, you were alive when Facebook came out?
Yeah. I remember straight off first, y'all don't even know that. Have you ever heard of MySpace? Yeah. Yeah. So you had MySpace.
I knew exactly where you're going.
That's
My mom
hilarious.
throws that up all the time. I knew exactly the platform you were going to say.
Jared on MySpace, and then you got Facebook, and then
Jared.
Jared was the founder of MySpace.
Oh.
Anyway.
So can I share something else?
Yes,
So, like, it's
please.
a different question. So I'm asking you a question.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. Do you think social media has benefits, or do you think it's just too dangerous to where it's if there's benefit, it's not worth it at all?
It's a method to get the gospel out. So anything that is a good method to communicate the gospel, I think there is a benefit to it. However, could there be more risk than benefits? Absolutely. I think we're seeing that in our culture. I mean, as Pastor says, the iPhone, right? On it all the time, addicted to it. I would say that a majority of American adults in my generation are addicted to their phone or social media in some way. And that if millennials struggle with that, how much more is Gen Alpha and Gen Beta and
Well,
future
especially
generations?
now, I feel like every kid has like an iPad.
Yeah.
Every single
Like
one.
everybody has an electronic, and there's nothing like I'm nothing
yeah.
against that. I think personally, I know Chance and I, like, we are not doing electronics until Tobias is like way older, and we try our very best not to do a screen because I know how addictive that can be. Like, and I still have to pull down those strongholds all the time. Like, I even have settings on my phone that gives me like a time on each app, and all you have to say is ignore time.
And then keep going.
And
It's
keep
like-
going. And like, I fall short of that. And to answer your question too, I do think social media is worth it. I think there's more risks than benefits, but that's at your work. That's at the mall. We are constantly all the time fighting temptation because the prince of the power of the air is here. And I think with social media specifically, if the enemy is attacking something so strong, there must be something there.
That's good.
If the enemy wants Hollywood so bad, there must be something there. If the enemy wants Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, there must be something there. Because even in the world, haters are louder than followers.
Absolutely.
Even in the world. Like, I know personally, I know firsthand from my dad, but like, it's like the same 5 people making 47 accounts, and it seems like so much more than it is, but it's really not. And it's always those hater things that are louder than the things of God. And I think on social media, there's a risk in the scrolling aspect of it, but I think that's also where obedience comes in. Like, that's also where, okay, you need to just get off your phone.
And discipline.
And discipline. It's obedience and discipline. And I think that got lost in the church too. Obedience and discipline definitely got lost somewhere in the grapevine of the church. I think that was like thrown out, because personally, when I got born again, I shared this with you guys last time I was on. When I got born again, like, I was good for 3 months, and then I was back into it. Like, I was worse off than before I got born again in 8th grade. And it's because I didn't know discipline. I didn't know discipleship.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that stuff. I didn't know what to do after I got born again. Like, nobody gave me like okay, like, you're born again. Hey, maybe you should start small. Read a chapter of John a day. Maybe try to start a prayer closet. Like, nobody told me those things. And so I was not disciplined. I was not discipled. And so I just went right back into the world. And I think also that's where our generation got it better too. Because I think for me personally, I started a young girls, your daughter's in it. I started a young girls discipleship group every Thursday.
She loves it too.
Yeah. And I look forward to it, because like, I see myself and all of these girls, but they need discipleship. Like Gen Alpha, Gen Z, we need discipleship. We need discipline, because we have an I don't care attitude. If you don't get to us, I don't care. I don't care. And so, yeah, I wanted to throw that there. But I do think social media is worth it. I think it's an amazing tool. But there's also downsides, but that's with literally everything in our life. That's like with eating food.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a downside to eating food.
Yeah. I don't think social media is worth it at all.
Oh, I love this is great. This is good.
Wow.
Like, this is good.
If you can't,
Boomer.
No. Oh.
Old soul there.
That's
Old
true.
soul.
I'm like
You are
40
old
in a
soul.
19-year-old body.
You are
you really
actually
are.
76.
You are. You're older than me now, Landon. It's okay.
I've had to tell you what to do at gas stations.
You're a millennial in the spirit. Anyway.
Dang,
Why do you think?
So there's a lot of reasons. So I'm gonna try to keep it short.
Keep it short.
But first off, your brain doesn't even stop to finishing. For men specifically, I don't really know about women. 25 years old. Your brain doesn't stop finishing developing until 25. So even me and you now using it is physically changing the way our brain perceives things. That's not healthy. The Lord did not make us to actually look at a screen. Even mankind got made, has been alive for thousands of years without that. And now we have this, and who knows how it's affecting us.
But they
just
still
like the
had
kids with the
sin.
iPad.
They still had struggles.
They still had sin.
They still had all the
They
same
did.
stuff.
But look how our attention span has gone down even faster.
Oh, no, totally
It's
agree.
so bad.
ADHD is off the charts in everybody.
Yeah.
I have it.
But see, everybody thinks they have it, but what if it's just a lack of discipline and getting rid of it? And
Totally
so with people who are not strong enough to have, like, if you're strong enough to have Instagram, strong enough to actually be an influencer, social media, all these things, then do it. You can make a difference from it. That's true. But me personally, I don't think I'm strong enough to have it for extended periods of time, because I know, not that I have an addictive personality, but I will just like keep doing something.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in my word, I'll just keep doing it. I'm just like in something. I'm fully in it. I'm not half in, half out. I'm fully in it. So I have to completely get rid of it. And then I've seen other people, social media, with seeing, like, this is my point with asking is it good to be an influencer, is that if I'm just a random person, if I had social media when I met you last year, I might have perceived you differently. Because I might have viewed you as this, like, oh my gosh, you're not just a person. You're this awesome, like, you're like royalty. Like, I can't even talk. Like, hold up. Like, whoa, you have thousands of followers. What the heck?
Yeah. People do feel that, though,
And they do feel that way.
I do run into that a lot.
And seeing you on social media change it, I didn't have it back then. So I'm able to have a normal relationship with you. If I would have seen that, I would have changed it. Yeah. If me scrolling and seeing all these other Christian people doing great, not talking about their flaws, I feel like, well, they're great. I'm just a failure. I'm terrible. Like, like all these people's lives are perfect. It gives a false sense of reality. And then you keep scrolling, keep looking at things. It doesn't elicit a change in somebody.
I mean, I would say to that, for an influencer, that's the importance of transparency and vulnerability.
And follow the right people, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if you just follow the right people and you're not mindlessly scrolling on, like, reels, you know what I'm saying? If you follow the right people that are transparent and I think there's a benefit in that aspect.
Yeah.
I think it all goes back to discipline. I know what you're saying. And
No, I completely agree.
I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
The mental health side effects, the physical side effects, I mean, there are real...
The mental health is crazy.
Toxicity with social media. So
yeah, and then the last thing I was going to say to it, I kind of forgot what I was going to say. Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. But I'm trying to remember real quick. So I'm just saying stuff. Is that it's putting people and giving them a face instead of giving it just to the gospel and just to the truth. Like if I go to somebody in the mall and tell them, like, I can talk to thousands of people on social media, but I can talk to thousands of people in my own town that I've never met before. But I'm only sticking to social media. It's kind of like how you say, don't go out unless you're not willing to go talk to your neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. It's easy to go talk on social media and say about a bunch of this stuff. Hard to talk to your neighbor. But when you do it on social media, sometimes people can idolize you because they see you as perfect.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's like when Paul said, I'm from Apollos, I'm from Paul, I'm from all these people. And Paul's like, no, you're from the Lord. Like, you're a child of God. And it's almost like idolizing the person in a way because that's who you're seeing. You're following the person more than having a relationship.
So I agree with that. But at the same time, so let's go back to my teenage years when there was no Facebook, when there was no Instagram, when there was no Snapchat, when there was no TikTok. Go back to a 13-year-old, 12-year-old preacher boy who hears Greg Locke for the first time preaching at a youth conference in a rodeo stadium, standing in the middle of a rodeo ring, giving his testimony about, rap that he was involved in. And back then, he was independent Baptist, but he was giving his testimony about his childhood, getting arrested, different things like that. And then he got up there and he preached the mess out of the word. And even as a 12-year-old boy, I loved preaching and I loved listening to preaching. And hearing Pastor Greg years and years ago, I began to follow his preaching. So back then, we had CDs, right? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Y'all can laugh at me, but I'm making a point here. We had CDs, then the DVDs came out, and then you could get video, and you had all these things. And I began to collect CDs and DVDs of Pastor Greg, of other well-known preachers that I liked and followed. What I'm trying to say is we had the same issue. It was just different. So, like, as a young preacher boy, like, I idolized Greg Locke, not in a bad way,
right.
not in an unhealthy way. But when I saw him, that's Pastor, he wasn't Pastor then. That's Evangelist Greg, that's Greg, I loved Greg, and I think in all of human history, think of Elvis, right? No YouTube, no Snapchat, no social media, hardly VHS tapes, I don't even know if they had those then, but people idolized him. It's Elvis. Millions of people idolized Elvis. So does social media do the same thing and maybe make it happen more often? Like there's more of an opportunity for more faces and more yes. But the concept of that battle has always existed.
It increases the sin, it increases the sin, it doesn't cause the sin.
I think it also goes into the enemy knows how to attack specific generations. So like the Elvis generation, the enemy knew he could use Elvis as an idol. Like I think it just goes to show like God's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, but not Satan. He likes to conform to the things of this world to better get you to conform to the things of this world. So the enemy uses social media, Hollywood, all that stuff in our generation. And then in y'all's generation, use CDs, DVDs. And then in the boomers, they use whatever. They had newspapers and vinyls. And like each area, it's the same sin, same struggles, same whatever. It's just modern. Now it's just modern. I think that's the only difference.
Yeah, modern and more accessible.
More accessible.
The accessibility is a danger.
And not to get into pornography, but I mean,
accessible.
But if you talk about that versus when I was a kid, I was a teenager. I couldn't go online and look at pornography. That would be something that an adult would have to buy in a gas station that's covered in black. You couldn't even see the covers.
Yeah.
Black wrapping. So accessibility to certain types of sin, I would say,
has increased
phenomenally. Yeah.
I heard Dr. Jordan Peterson say this, is that a 12-year-old boy, this horrified me. This made me so sad for a lot of people who, like, I struggle with this, like pornography, I struggle with that.
Yeah.
Is that a 12-year-old boy now can look at, in 10 minutes, more beautiful naked women than the richest man 1,000 years ago could in his lifetime.
Yeah, that's like...
What does that do to a person's brain?
Oh, a lot. Yeah.
That changes that is horrifyingly too much, too fast, and it's just gross.
Yeah.
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 But that's also a reflection of the parents too, though.
Well, somewhat. I mean, there's a lot that it is a reflection of parents. But
in the aspect of like, maybe don't give your kid
a phone
access to that
having restrictions on it, because that's a thing. You can put restrictions on it.
Restrictions on it
because it's so you can do it on any device.
I've got a program on Riley's phone that I can hook up to my computer, and I can see every text, every web search. I can see every single thing he does on his phone, even if it's been deleted.
Yeah. See, there's that too.
So you're just like looking at what he does?
No, I see every single thing that comes in his phone and out of his phone.
I'd do the same thing.
That's crazy.
I would.
I'm not saying that's healthy, guys. Don't follow. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, right.
But I mean, yeah. But I think it's good to do that. Parents need to know what their kids, or try to know at least.
Protect
at least
them.
try to.
Yeah.
I mean, if they get by with some
Put
things,
some type of effort in there.
So, yeah, some type of
effort in there.
So
I think the best thing would not be giving them until they're able to understand.
Yeah.
Like the risk in the actual way. Like that's when the choice where they can choose what they're gonna do. But if you're a parent and you have a child, like don't give them a thing that can just look up something terrible and horrifying within a minute.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so these are generational issues that are going to continue to develop. And as things continue to modernize and get even more and more and more, there's going to be a litany of whole other issues that, just like this, what we're discussing right now, that continues to come our way. And as believers, it goes all the way back to what Chiara said: obedience and discipline. And if we're able to do that, no matter what the enemy uses, the methods, the motives, no matter what he does, we're going to be able to combat that through the power of the Word of God and in the name of Jesus. But we have to be disciplined to do it. And that's the problem, I think, that we're experiencing as millennials, even as we should be disciplined at our ages, but we're not. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, same thing. So anyway, but to end the podcast, there is hope.
How did we get here?
I don't know.
I know. I was looking back.
I think this is going to be a two-parter.
Yeah.
But this is important to realize, though. No matter how dark it gets outside, the light of Jesus is still brighter and still sheds away the darkness. And so we have got to be good light bearers, sharing the gospel, shining the light of Christ as we're commanded to do. Let your light, Jesus said, so shine before men, so that they may see your good works that glorify the Father. It's important, as Brother DR preached, to shine our lights. And if Gen Z does that and Gen Alpha does that, and it continues, man, there is hope. And the hope is not in the generation. The hope is in the God of the generation.
Yeah.
It's in Jehovah. It's in Jesus. That is our hope. It was the hope in the 1800s, and it's the hope today. Yeah. And there is hope. So I want to speak as we close to the adults who we judge generations below us. God is powerful to use any generation that he wants to, and any method and means and tool that he wants to. So instead of judging those that are coming up, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're like, oh my gosh, these people don't work. These people are whatever's wrong with that generation. And there are a lot of problems with millennials, and there's a lot of problems with Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and it will continue. And I know it's easy for us as adults to sit back and like, but maybe if you prayed more and fasted more, maybe God would send revival to your grandkids' generation.
Ooh.
So quit judging. Pray for rain. Pray for revival. Pray for God to change our children's and grandchildren's generation. Quit judging and get on your knees and start praying and fasting and believing. Well, it's been great today in the studio. Love you guys, and hope everyone has an incredible weekend. Are you all right?
I'd like to co-sign that.
Seriously. Seriously, we're missing it, guys.
Way
we're
to end
missing
the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, we love you, Chiara. We love you, Chiara. It's been great. Fire fall, not just under this tent, but in our generations. God bless you. Find a GV hub near you. GVFreedomNetwork.com. GVFreedomNetwork.com. Love you guys. We're out.